Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk about Spider-Man Far From Home. It's 7:30 in the morning, about 7:44 in the morning. I've slept for about 3 hours, and let's talk about Spider-Man Far From Home. There will be spoilers, but I'll let you know when we get there. No bells and whistles. Everybody's seen the trailer. If you want clips and everything like that, I just didn't feel like doing it because it's going to take the video longer to upload today. So, Spider-Man Far From Home. Ballpark picture. I loved it. I sat there waiting to agree with people about things, mainly Mysterio, which, yeah, I mean, depending on your feelings on keeping it, like, completely accurate, if you want to be a bitch, go ahead and complain about it. I happen to actually like what they did with Mysterio here, because Mysterio, to most, like, so many Spider-Man villains are kind of a joke. They're all interesting, but after a while, you know, Spidey's stopped them all over and over and over and over again. So how do you make Mysterio a real threat? Now, in the comics, recently, well, in the last few years anyway, his biggest claim to fame was in Dead Man Logan. Spoilers for Dead Man Logan, or Old Man Logan, sorry. Where Mysterio convinces Wolverine that all the villains are attacking the X-Mansion, and he goes berserker rage and kills all the villains. But it turns out that the villains were all an illusion created by Mysterio, and that actually who he killed was all of the X-Men. And then there's like a whole multiverse thing where Old Man Logan's in our universe 616, and when he's trying to get back, he tries to kill Mysterio, because Mysterio is brought in by some bad guys to actually make the events of Old Man Logan happen. Also, in the most recent issues of Amazing Spider-Man number 24, there's a new villain, and kind of spoilers for the comics, but Mysterio kind of looks like he's dead. But he's been killed a lot. But he's always been kind of like a joke for a while. I mean, he's got cool powers and everything, but, you know, other than those things, most of Spidey's villains are kind of like nuisance. In my opinion, like, it's just old hat, and what can you do with that? So that's what they do here, is they make him, you know, since this is our introduction to the character, and I don't know, hopefully not the last, but it seems like it, into a guy who is trying to be a hero. Now, if you know anything about anything, like, there's no way that they were going to let him be this character. So there was a lack of tension for me around his character. I was waiting for the turn. I was waiting to see, when will I know that he's up to no good. And there is a really cool, like, you have to be paying attention, because for a second I was like, okay, did I see what I saw? Or was that just something else? But to go back to the beginning here, to just talk about Spider-Man Far From Home, and comparing it to Homecoming, to me, it fixed a few of the problems that I didn't like in Homecoming. Namely, too much Ned. I'm not a fan of Ned, but here's the thing. In this movie, they pretty much got everybody right. As far as, like, they gave us just enough of everybody, and they put the people that are better actors on screen more. Betty Brad's character gets a lot more to do here, because she's a talented actress. If you haven't seen The New Guys, or The Nice Guys, geez, it is early, and I am undertired. she's like a really, really great actress in The Nice Guys, and so she didn't really get that much to do in Homecoming, but in this, the kids are such a big part of the movie. They give her a lot more to do, and she steals a lot of the scenes that she's in with Ned. She makes Ned better to me. Marissa Tomei doesn't really have that much to do except be Aunt May, and the whole happy subplot that's, or I don't know if it's a subplot, but more like a concern for Peter that's in the back of his mind that her and Happy are having a fling or a relationship. It's in the trailer, so that's not really a spoiler. Um, and then he's clearly over the last girl because he's all about MJ now, which kind of just makes me go, why did they do it? I don't know. I guess it's because they wanted to introduce the world and give him a love interest that wouldn't last, that wouldn't be Gwen Stacy. Because if you have Gwen Stacy, then you need to do more with it. And in this case, we're just going to skip the whole Gwen Stacy thing, I hope. Because if you do Gwen Stacy, you need like 2 or 3 movies just for her, and then you can switch to MJ, if you want to be all purist about it. Which, some people really might be mad that they've never done Gwen Stacy in this, you know, round so far. But with what people say about what Tom Holland wants to do with his career and how long he's even going to play Spider-Man, which I really hope that he does it as long as he can. Not as long as he wants, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I shouldn't say wants. I hope he wants to do it longer than it seems. Because he really is Spider-Man. And he's in an interview, he's been saying, like, I don't want to just be one thing. Which is fine. You don't have to be. If you're a good enough actor, you don't have to be. He's talking about being like a DiCaprio and stuff like that. Like, 5-year plan is have fun. Longer than that, I think he said it's Oscar time. I'm like, oh, come on, dude. Like, don't be chasing the Oscar. Do you know how long it took Leo to get the Oscar? And it was for The fucking Revenant, which I like, but come on. Samuel L. Jackson and Kobe Smulders are in this just enough. It feels like kind of this movie like a long episode of the Spider-Man cartoon that was out not too long ago, the Ultimate Spider-Man, I think it was, where Nick Fury was running a team of Spider-Man and like Luke Cage and Danny Rand, Iron Fist. And they were just kind of in the background, kind of like checking on things. And that's how it felt like here, like definitely an homage to that kind of story that they were telling in Ultimate Spider-Man. Honestly, though, I hope they stay away from Ultimate Spider-Man and just stick with the regular 616 stories. Just because I'm not that big of an Ultimate fan. At least Spider-Man's Ultimate story. MJ here, played by Zendaya, is she gets so much more to do instead of just being like sarcastic girl that's not Peter's girlfriend. In this, she really shows she can act. She is an interesting character. She's a fun character. They're both really, really awkward, which is nice to see, them pull off in such a cynical world about when they show like relationships starting. Everybody's just like, hit it, like, let's see some real, like, actual way kids are instead of like just, it's cool, we're boyfriend and girlfriend, let's bang, like everybody's so blasé about stuff. This is like still sticking kind of with that classic John Hughesy feel of a story for the kids and Peter and the high school experience, because now we're in a vacation movie, which or a vacation road trip movie, which, is another homage to a bunch of stuff that happened in the 80s. And you know what? They do a good job here. In fact, like I said, I think this is better than Homecoming. Homecoming had to do like an origin story without doing an origin story, the small level stuff, establish him more in the MCU, which was great. We got Michael Keaton, we got, Robert Downey Jr. But in this, it's about Spider-Man becoming, I'm going to steal from, I think it was Chris Stuckman, I think, about Spider-Man actually becoming a Spider-Man. That he's got to get out from under Tony's shadow, which is a big part of this movie. And I'm actually fine with it. Some people said that's just kind of like too much. But I think it's important that there's even a scene where they literally, spoilers, play Tony's like music when Spider-Man's working on something. Like they're really going after it. But the thing is they're fighting against it through the movie, like saying that he needs to be his own person. Um, but Sam Jackson and Colby Smulders are in this just enough, like I said, and it's important to stay after the credits to have a whole big context thing put into perspective about Sam and Colby Smulders, Maria Hill, in this movie. Um, let's see. Jon Favreau's back as Happy, and he's actually likable in this one because I think he had to be. I know people like him. I like him, but he's always kind of a pill. And in this, because of like kid gloves with Tony and being a part of the thing, he's a lot nicer to Peter, and especially because it appears to be he's at least trying to shtup at May, and so maybe that's why he's being nice. Um, there's a whole beginning scene where with the kids, Betty Brant and the other one who does the news report. Oh my God, that beginning scene is so funny. Speaking of which, again, yeah, other people have said this movie's really funny. It's funnier than the first one, and I do agree that most of the jokes land, most of them, more than the first one, and the first one's funny too. This one's really funny. Martin Starr brings a lot to it. JB Smoove, I feel like he's fine too. He's just kind of finishing the jokes a lot of times, where he's just the setup is what the other guy did, and then Smoove will come in and say something, and vice versa too. And you do have to kind of turn your brain off on the whole high school trip thing because everything is kind of pushed along by Nick Fury. If you can't, I mean, in the trailer he says, I think Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation. So again, not really too much of a spoiler unless you stayed away from all trailers, which I did stay away from everything except for the teaser from this. So a lot of this, that there's a fight scene that I didn't watch when the real trailer came on, and it turns out it's not even in the movie. Now, Jake Gyllenhaal as Quentin Beck. I think you get Jake Gyllenhaal, you got Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's really good in this. And when you find out what's going on, I actually really dug it even more because it does make Mysterio more of a threat, and it's an interesting take on filling the void of Iron Man. There's not just the good guy void. There's the bad guys who see opportunity, or people that just see opportunity. Like they weren't necessarily bad people to start, but become it after the fact. Um, it's just long enough, and definitely stay for the post-credit scenes. That's about all I can say as far as non-spoilers because Nick comes and now he has to try to balance his life. And again, it is so accurate to the way Spider-Man's life is. There's no time to take a breath in Peter's world. Everything is always a choice of do I have fun or do I save the day? Do I tell them about me or do I not tell them about me? And again, there's another big point that is going to make the next movie pretty nuts, and I'm kind of surprised they're going there. Let's talk about it in spoilers. So go see Spider-Man Far From Home. I thought it was great. I can't wait to take my dad and my nephew to go see it as well. I probably need to see this movie at least twice more to get the full effect. I'll probably see it the second time like Sunday or maybe even Friday since I've got off. And so let's get into spoilers. Holy shit, this might be a long video. So let's just talk about the post-credit scenes now. Okay, for people that, this is going to be the big thing is the post-credit scenes. And to talk about the post-credit scenes, we got to talk about something else they did right, something really cool, which is showing Peter and Mary Jane swinging in New York City, which was really well done, and how it would really be like. I love that a lot. But that's just the beginning of the post-credit scene where, he hears a report on the news that Quentin Beck, right before he died, frames Spider-Man for the drone attack in London, and that he really was the hero, but the thing is like, well, if Fury's there, right? Why wouldn't he just say, "Oh, this is bullshit"? Because yeah, they set up Peter Parker by none other than fucking J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson is back. The whole I got up out of my seat almost and started clapping. I said, "Yes." They gave him a bit of a different look, but he's back and he is all about, against Spider-Man. This is the introduction of hate Spider-Man time. So like Spidey hasn't even had a chance to really like. First they think he's Iron Man, and now they're gonna try to make him the villain right away. So I mean, I get it on the standpoint of just pile on shit on Peter Parker because that is Peter's life again. It's pile on Peter. Um, but they show Quentin Beck. Him and his tech people made it look like Spidey didn't care and used the drone attack, and that Beck died a hero. And that is J. Jonah Jameson's basically, selling point on Peter being a bad guy. So that was really, really fantastic. The other post-credit scene is Nick and Maria aren't Nick and Maria. This whole time they were the two Skrulls from Captain Marvel, played by Ben Mendelsohn, and I'm not sure of the actress who plays his wife. But apparently they were pretending to be Nick and Maria for Nick Fury because Nick's not around after Avengers Endgame for some reason. And so they were put in charge of helping Peter, but it goes off the rails, as they say. I really like this scene. This scene, in a lot of ways, is actually better than the other post-credit scene because we set up what I believe is SWORD, the space station that S.H.I.E.L.D. has to fight and get ready for intergalactic shenanigans. Anybody who gets near Earth, now S.H.I.E.L.D. has a place up in space. Or he's off hanging with Captain Marvel, but I think it's SWORD. So that's a big preventative measure, and it's a part of Captain Marvel's kind of story too. But to go back to the other post-credit scene where now Spidey's on the run, and it's revealed that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And we get the whole, what the fuck? For the second time. Please tell me they didn't do that just so that they could get that scene in there. That second moment of, first it was Aunt May saying, what the fuck, now it's Peter. Man, I don't know. I think painting him as the villain is fine. I think what they should have done is thought that Spider-Man was somebody else. I think that would have been funnier. And that would have been like, what the fuck? But letting his secret identity out of the bag is, to me, I don't know how I feel about that. If they were going to do it, they should have just introduced him. See, in Civil War, in the comic, that's when he gets introduced as Peter Parker, and it really kind of starts a whole other bad amount of things for Peter, because they always say, if they know who you are, they can go after your family. I don't know. I feel like that's a misstep, but we'll see how they handle it. I don't know how they're going to handle it. We probably got 2 years to wait before we find out how, which is a bummer. I hope that they can, now that we have J.K. Simmons, that we'll have him peppered throughout the Marvel universe, just kind of out there talking shit and maybe giving us updates, which would be interesting to do. But I don't know. Revealing Peter's identity already. Not even already. I mean, that really feels like you're setting up a trilogy, and it's like, why are you setting up a trilogy in a series that could go like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? I don't care how many movies. So that makes me concerned about the future of these Spider-Man movies for the MCU. It really, really does. And I was surprised that the post-credit scenes didn't give us like Tom Hardy or something like that. But that means possibly the whole thing with them like trying to get Venom and everybody in these movies might be bullshit, but I don't know. We'll see. It just came out today, and we don't know anything really. Wow, my stomach is growling. Okay, so other spoilers here. The way that they made Mysterio, okay? So Quentin Beck is pretending he's from another Earth, which is pretty clever actually, because in Quentin Beck's own words, like people will believe anything now. Now that the aliens have come and everybody was wiped out, I mean, you could pretty much say whatever and people would have to believe it because there's nothing, it's proven that a bunch of people died and came back. And the way that they talk about that is great. The blip, where all these people came back 5 years later, 5 years older, you know, uh, it was interesting because then it's kind of like how you make a wish. If you're not specific, they'll just come back. So like they just said, bring everybody back to the 5 years, so that they would have to have already adjusted to those 5 years when everybody else stays the same, which is like weird, but really really interesting because that is an actual thing you needed to think about, or at least really hardcore people are going to be like, wait a minute, why weren't they like 5 years old? Like, so I really really appreciated them adding that and having that be kind of a thing throughout the entire movie. Um, like I said, the kids play a lot bigger role in this, and I think that they handled the kids and the teacher scenes really well as far as dialogue goes. Everybody was really good, and that's the thing is I didn't have any complaints. I never thought that the Ramones music fit in this world, so there was that kind of like, I don't know, New York punky feel. Now that we're overseas and doing other things and getting away from New York City and out of our comfort zone and back to Germany. Um, okay, everybody, sorry about that. Uh, Completely threw me off. So there's going to be a little weirdness in between about the 20-minute mark on this video. So yeah, we're talking about Quentin Beck now. I love how they set him up as this guy who says he's from a different universe. I'm not, I've known him enough to know that this is all bullshit. Like I said, I'm just waiting for the turn. I thought it was weird that Nick it makes sense now that Nick didn't get a vibe off of Beck. It also makes sense of what Maria Hill says later on, that he had no qualms about Beck, that he just was right on board. And I thought that's really weird. Nick just being okay, not being like not having any kind of doubt. I thought that was strange at the time too. But knowing now that they were really Skrulls, which again, I don't know if that's setting up Secret Invasion or preparing us for Secret Invasion, because the two Skrulls that are here are good. Okay, historically the Skrulls have been bad. They switched it up in Captain Marvel to subvert expectations, to make the Skrulls the victims and the Kree the attackers. Now the Kree are attackers, but they've been fighting each other like forever. It's like the Serbians and the Bosnians, man. None of them, they both want to wipe each other out. So whether or not we're going to see a turn on the Skrulls and make it into Secret Invasion, that seems like a logical step here in this, to me, before they do Secret Invasion or Secret Wars. But we'll see. But Beck's whole thing of these are ex-Stark employees. People that were fired, or they set up at least that Beck had illusion technology, that he was fired for being unstable, and he is unstable, but like he's also just really like, I don't know, he's an actor, and that's kind of like, and he's about performance. And that's another thing about Mysterio that kind of gets lost in translation these days, is that, he's been done enough that you don't really see him as he sets things up. You get to see the process. I really like that. But you get the other guy set up from Iron Man 1 who was berated by Jeff Bridges' character in that. And so it was setting up like that Stark employees weren't happy, and then after his death that there was a void to be filled, and so these kind of disgruntled Stark employees are starting their own like kind of tech company, which to me says that this is like the beginning of AIM, the Advanced Idea Mechanics people. Now I think they brought up AIM before, right? That was Sam Rockwell's think tank in Iron Man 2. Now, a lot of times AIM has been kind of like the weapons division of Hydra, but AIM I think has also been like dealt with MODOK and things like that. So I think this would be a good way of introducing AIM to the world of the MCU, like proper anyway. Because I mean, Iron Man 2 was how long ago? Like 2011, 2010. And since then, we haven't really heard of any of that. Maybe this is our opportunity to get Justin Hammer back. Or let's just, speaking of Sam Rockwell, can we just like reboot his universe, MCU universe thing, and give him a different character? But that's just that's something else. Um, Other spoilers, well, yeah, I mean, there are no like Avengers in this movie. Nobody just shows up or anything. There's plenty of stuff. I do love when at the end Peter's got the projector, well, the like piece of tech and a shield. Like he learned from both Cap and Iron Man on how to do things, like his inspirations. I like it the in memoriam they have Cap like he's dead, so like the world doesn't know that there actually is an old Cap out there. We didn't establish that Cap died. You know, I think he's still around. You know, I think if they wanted to kill him off, they really would have killed him off. I think they need to leave the door open for Cap to come back. Because there's plenty of ways in the stories for Cap to not stay old. Now, whether or not that means Chris Evans would be in a bunch of movies, that's just, I know me, it's that wishful thinking on my part. But I just want them to be able to leave the door open for cameos or maybe like, you know, supporting roles in movies where he doesn't have to like be the whole main focus of the movie, but possibly a way to come back. Christ, what else is there? Because it is early and I am tired and I've still got to do 8.5 hours of work. So that's another reason why there's no bells and whistles, or I'm not standing in front of my Amazing Spider-Man poster over there, you know, like doing it proper. That's why I don't have a Spider-Man Far From Home poster, which I kind of want. Let's see, what else can we talk about here? Yeah, like I said, the whole thing with them making him bad, I don't, you know, or making him a, you know, Peter Parker wanted now, I don't know how I feel about that. But okay, going back to more back stuff, I do want to keep talking about Mysterio actually. So these X people, they decide that they want to, you know, they're not going to take over the world. They are going to try to make themselves like a lot of money and set, you know, and they're already setting up like fake, like heroic scenarios, so that he can be, you know, he can get all the glory and stuff. And I love the fact that he's walking around in mocap. He's not always there. Like that's a thing about like Mysterio's character that's always been kind of like frustrating. Like he's always just been there. Like what do those lasers do? Like it's all for show. He's not. I mean, if anybody noticed in those fights, he's not really doing anything until it's the moment. And I love that. I love that, you know, you see like these fights go out like it's planned. I really, really dug it. They had like a whole set. And they were practicing, like rehearsal. The fact that they killed Beck at the end did bother me. It's like, no, you gotta leave the door open for the Sinister Six. I mean, unless they're just gonna bring in a whole bunch of new villains. But Mysterio's kind of been a part of the Sinister Six quite often, I thought. Okay, and we've only really established Vulture, Quentin Beck. I guess we got Shocker. We got future Scorpion and Matt Gargan, who was played by the guy from Better Call Saul and Far Cry 3. His name is escaping me. Michael Mando. It's going to be Gargan. He doesn't have the Scorpion suit yet, so that's 4. I don't know who the other 2 Sinister Six would be, except for maybe Otto Octavius and who would be another one? Maybe Craven? I don't know. But I don't know. Yeah, I don't like it when they kill off villains, and I thought that, you know, because of Homecoming that they would figure out a way to keep Beck alive, but doesn't look so like so much. At the end of this movie, Peter and MJ are a thing. It's really cute. And again, I really like them swinging around the city. If there's anything else I missed, chalk it up to the fact that I got home at 3 o'clock in the morning and then had to go to bed and then got up in a panic because I thought I was going to oversleep for work and decided to make this review and not tell anybody that I was recording. That's why I have that break in there where it's like somebody yelling, going, "Hey, you got to go to work?" I might try to edit it out, but it's also kind of funny. But, yeah. So anyway, so that's Spider-Man Far From Home. This is my version of a Spider-Man Far From Home review, warts and all. God, I gotta get a sign that says recording. I gotta get a sign that says recording. I seriously. Okay, so anyway, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, please be a subscriber. We're trying to get to a certain number. We're not there yet, but we've been having a great time here on the channel. There's lots of stuff to look at. And so I'm just going to leave it at that because I think I might have enough time to take another little brief cat nap before I got to go to work. So this is Robert Smirking on Review saying have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.